All right, there we go. Apologies for that brief interference. Apparently there we had a little connection blip and the stream went down, but thankfully there were no major issues and we were able to just go straight back into things. A Bomb Wallaby. I suppose you're the first follower of the new stream now. So welcome to BRL, and we will be starting with Formula 2 in just a few minutes. Okay, so now's the time. I'll do a quick Q&A now. Anything you want to know about BRL or the new season specifically, or any of the tiers, or scheduling, etc., make sure you put your message in the chat now, or hopefully pretty soon, because that way we will be able to give you a little more information about what we do here. Just a nice little thing to do while we're waiting for an invite to the F2 lobby, which will be starting up right around now. And don't be afraid to ask anything you like in chat. We've got nothing to do until we get that lobby invite up and running. Again, anything you guys would like to ask in the chat before we get going again with Formula 2 tier, ask now, ask away, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. I'm a quite involved member of the BRL community, so I should be able to answer whatever you need or address your concerns, etc. And make sure, if you know some of the viewers that were on here previously before the stream went down, get them back in here, because I only see 8 viewers right now. We should have around 30, because that was what we had when the last stream went down. Alright, it is currently 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the scheduled start of the Formula 2 lobby. It looks like it's taking a little bit longer to set up than we anticipated, so everyone hang tight. There is still a race going on, or rather a qualifying session going on in just a few moments. Do not go anywhere. And we've just gotten the invite. All right, wonderful. Going into the Formula 2 lobby now. Looks like the lobby's still forming. We should have a roughly 15, 16 man grid, but we've only got 10 in there right now, it would seem. Testing, 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 testing. All right, that sounds good. Sounds very, very, very good. Time to get all of the Twitch viewers in here. Come on, guys, connect already. All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the start of Breakout Racing League Formula 2 Xbox tier. And we're starting with the first round of the season today, the very first, here at Bahrain, the Secure International Circuit. We're starting off real quick here with one-shot qualifying. As you can see, we're using the new F2 2020 cars that were introduced very recently. And should be quite a fun race. BRL Phantom in the Dams car is already retired from the session, it looks like. Again, one-shot qualifying. It'll be going very quickly here since each driver only has one lap to set the best lap time that they possibly can. So riding on board with ARS Booster here in the high-tech Grand Prix car, one of the several different F2 cars you'll see as a part of today's races. ARS Ham Newton currently provisional pole in the MP Motorsport car, number 14, normally driven by Nobuharu Matsushita in real life, or for the latter part of the season, Giuliano Alesi. Darth Q-Man currently sporting the Red Bull livery Carlin, the number 7 it looks like, the one driven by Yuki Tsunoda during the F2 season in real life. Sergeant Milk 4 in the Campos as well, normally driven by Jack Aitken. And MEX Senna in the HW Race Lab car is parked in a dangerous location, apparently. So he's going to be disqualified, it looks like, and he didn't make it too far. It doesn't look like. Ooh, but it's a real scuffle to the line and the timings. And TRL Stig is going to get a pole position here, 139.682 for ART Grand Prix. Followed by ERS Ham Newton in the MP Motorsport car, unsighted Port 1 in the UNI Virtuosi, and ARS Booster in the high-tech Grand Prix machine. Pretty quick qualifying session, I know. No 18-minute runs or 45-minute full sessions. But it's nice and quick. We're getting it out of the way, being snappy about it. And here is your starting grid. Stig, Ham Newton, unsighted Port 11, Booster Q-Man, followed by Mean Fern, Deer Hunter, Sergeant Milk 4 in the Campos, Skull of the Bull in the UNI Virtuosi, and then Senna, Feta Cheese, Ed Taronia, and BRL Phantom. 13-car grid today. We were scheduled to have a 15 or 16-car grid, as I said before, but unfortunately it didn't quite pan out that way. But we still got a nice competitive field of drivers here who can test their mettle against one another in the opening race of this Formula 2 tier season. It's actually the first ever race in BRL Formula 2 tier, because this is the first season in which we have done an F2 tier. There was interest in it last season, possibly doing it, but we didn't want to with the F2 2019 cars, the old cars. Now that the new ones have been added, we are completely free to do what we please. The F2 2020 cars were added back in December, if I remember correctly. And here we go. Unlike what you're used to in Formula 1, the races at in F2 at Bahrain are completely day races, so no under the lights action, under the sun instead. Keep in mind we'll have two races here today, the feature race and the sprint race. The feature race will be worth a full 25 points for the winner, using a normal Formula 1 scoring system, 18 points for second, 15 for third, and so on, all the way down to 10th place. And then we'll also have a sprint race after that, using a reverse grid from the feature race. It'll be worth fewer points, only 15 for the winner. But there will be plenty of high-octane action in both. Everyone is starting on the medium compound tire. However, the hards are also going to be in play. The medium and hard are the two compounds, the prime and the option and prime, if you will. They don't use 3 different tire compounds every race weekend like Formula 1 does. It's much simpler. Mandatory pit stops are a thing in the feature race. Everyone here will have to pit before the end of after the end of lap number 4 to do their mandatory tire changing pit stop. But in the sprint race, it'll be balls to the wall, complete freedom to do whatever the heck you want to win. So Tyrrell Stig up front here. On medium tires, trying to warm things up a bit. Keep in mind, BRL Phantom at the back, because he started outside the top 10, he will not be bound to the same tires that he started in the qualifying. Same with Feta and Ed Taranya as well, in the High-Tech and Prema respectively. Or the ART and Prema, sorry. And this will mean Phantom will be able to run quite a bit longer into this feature race, but at the same time, he'll have to make a pit stop for the medium tires later on, and he'll be slower initially in these opening laps. But that's okay, because he's starting at the back of the grid, so he really doesn't have to defend from anybody. They could put him in with a shout for points here. Keep in mind, if you have a bad qualifying, 8th place is generally the magic number that you want to get to in the feature race, because whoever finishes 8th place in the feature race will be on reverse grid pole for the sprint. That's how it works in Formula 2. The top 8 are reversed between the feature race and the sprint race, and everyone 9th or lower will start the sprint race in the same positions that they finished the feature race in. The grid is forming up now, and will be beginning shortly. BRL Phantom in the Dams car at the very back. Waiting now to roll up to the final slot on the grid, P13. Everyone's formed up. We're revved up and ready to go for BRL Formula 2. For the very first time. Three, 4, 5 red lights, and they're out. It's the start of the feature race in BRL Formula 2. Looks like a good start for Tyrrell Stig already, but Ham Newton is right there on the inside. He could try a dive bomb into turn 1. Cheeky little dive. He looks to be alongside from this angle. Not quite sure. Ooh, everyone as much as 4 wide into turn number 1. Ham Newton's going to go on the inside, but Tyrrell Stig is going to hold him off. A little big slide from Boostier further back, because he's gotten past unsighted Port for 3rd place already. High-Tech versus UNI Virtuosi, but look at this. Port's going to come back at him into turn number 4. What's going to happen here? He's going to go down the inside. He's going to pressure Boostier into a lockup, but he's not going to get past it, looks like. Boostier sticks it around the outside, and that's going to give Meanford a little run here now on the UNI Virtuosi car. Not quite going to work out, though. Skull the Bulls behind him. Feta Cheese, Deer Hunter, Sergeant Milk, and MEX Senna currently round out the grid, but everyone is very close together. It looks like the Carlin of Darth Q-Man has actually had a bit of a nightmarish start, and he's already all the way back in 13th after qualifying 5th. In the meantime, Meanford really getting after unsighted Port now. Formula 2 cars, because of their decreased power compared to F1 cars, are even more about momentum. They really are a lot about momentum, because the unsighted Port made a move on Boostier into turn 4, but it failed. He lost momentum, and now he's being hounded by Meanford for the entire next sector. So watch for that trend during the race. In the meantime, ARS Boostier pressuring Tyrrell Stig, and Ham Newton has actually gotten into the lead now. The MP Motorsport car taking over from the ART. Not sure when that happened, because we were busy watching unsighted Port. It looks like a very good run off of the penultimate corner for ARS Boostier, but Port is right there behind them, so I think he'll be ready to take advantage of any mistakes Boostier decides against going into the final corner. He'll get a bit of a slipstream down the front straight, but no DRS yet, because we're not to lap 3 quite yet. Ham Newton sets the fastest lap, of course, because the leaders always sets the fastest lap on lap number 1. I wonder, the entire realistic tier race in the last couple hours was run without the appearance of a safety car or a major crash even once. I wonder if the F2 guys will show a similar standard of clean racing here today as Tyrrell Stig retakes the lead. No, he doesn't. Looks like the timing sheets are deceiving us. Meanford is not in 2nd, he's in 5th at the moment. So just wait for everything to shake itself out. Looks like we're having some glitches here, but this is your true leader, ERS Ham Newton. Purple Sector 1, of course, and there's a yellow flag. There's a Virtuosi off the track. Hold on a minute. Not a Virtuosi. Looks like a... Who's off? Ed Turon. No, not Ed Turon yet. Oh, it's Skull the Bull. Skull the Bull, who was being shown in the lead for some reason, has spun, it seems, at turn 4 and is all the way down to 13th and last place. It's unfortunate he was running in P7 at the time. And in the meantime, TRL Stig falling even further down the order. It appears that he's now under pressure from Meanfern in that MP Motorsport car, and he's been passed by Unsighted Port. And Boostier has walked away from him as well. Q-Man is not in the lead, don't make that mistake. Ham Newton is leading, followed by Boostier, Port, Stig, and Mean Fern. And it looks like the scoreboard is correcting itself now. Indeed it is. Now then, let's see the juiciest battles here in track. Ooh, big lockup from Mean Fern. That's not going to help him against Stig. And now it's going to be the start of lap 3, and DRS will be enabled. Port's going on the offensive here against ARS Boostier, trying to get second place. Side by side down the pit straight. It's clear the Port got a much better run off the final turn. We go down the outside into turn 1. Ooh, it doesn't look like it's quite going to work, but he's hanging it there. He's hanging it, he's hanging it, he's hanging it, he's touching, he's ahead. Ooh. Ooh, that was bad. Boostier is around. Boostier is around now. That was a bit of a messy exchange, needless to say, and it looks like Boostier has definitely come off the worst from that. I wonder if the stewards will be having a look at it. But Unsighted Port, quite a battle, and it was a pretty good overtake to be fair to him. There was just a little bit of side pod banging that pushed Boostier off the track. We'll have to see what the officials say about that after the fact. In the meantime, quite a big train, it seems, is forming behind Unsighted Port, consisting of Stig, Fern, Feta, and MEX Senna, it would seem. Senna's quite a big mover already. He started in P12, if I remember correctly, and he's already up to 6th place, and very much hounding Feta Cheese in that HWA Race Lab car. So let's see just how far he can get up the order. There's certainly plenty of skilled drivers here ahead of him that might have something to say about his advancement. Meanwhile, further back, Mean Fern chasing down TRL Stig here. Gotta wonder, how much is he willing to push the car in this early stage of the race? Lap 3 of 16, still very early days. In the meantime, it looks like we have a pending incident from the realistic race, so the stewards will be looking at that probably as we speak. And in the meantime, Mean Fern with DRS going after TRL Stig. Stig has DRS on Unsighted Port, though. He's still just close enough to get that, as MEX Senna sets the fastest lap of the race further back. He is coming, most certainly. Ooh, Fern can't quite get close enough into turn 1, but they're both gaining on Unsighted Port because he's the only one of these three that doesn't have DRS on the straights. And of course, Senna is still holding on just outside of DRS range now. I was going to say inside, but it looks like he's lost it. For the moment, at least. Yellow flag now in Sector 1, and there's a car around its BRL Phantom. In the dams, it looks like he was fighting maybe with Deer Hunter in the high-tech, and he has fallen off a bit there. Phantom still in 10th place, still in a points-paying position. On the hard tires, hopefully he'll be able to just bounce back. In the meantime, Darth Q-Man, after his struggles at the start of the race, he looks like he's pitted already onto the hard compound tires. And you got to wonder, how are those tires going to look towards the end of the race? Because 12 laps is not normally the distance that you push these, at least outside of the sprint race. But most of these guys are going to be pitting around laps 6 or 7 probably for those tires. And it's certain that Q-Man is going a little bit longer than that, or at least trying to go a little bit longer than that. We'll have to see how far he actually gets. But you definitely don't want to make multiple pit stops in this race because these guys only have 2 sets of medium tires in their allocation. So if they use both... Sorry, these guys only have 2 sets of hard tires in their allocation. So if they end up having to use both, then they won't have any fresh sets of tires left for the sprint race, and that really is quite an awkward proposition, because it'll put you at a serious grip disadvantage compared to your competitors. Feta Cheese now trying to get Mean Fern just 3/10 behind. It looks like he has decent prospects for overtaking here if he can just stay in that slipstream. Speaking of which, Mean Fern breaks the slipstream. He knows he's in trouble. He knows he's in trouble. Feta's gaining. Feta's gaining. He is very much gaining. Sticks at the fastest lap, but we are focusing on this battle for 4th place. And Feta goes down the inside. And he's going to stick it. It looks like Fern can't quite do it. Can't quite hang around the outside, and that's going to make him vulnerable to MEX Senna now. Wonder how long it'll take him to really have a proper run at this MP Motorsport car. As Stig and Unsighted Port continue to battle for second further up ahead. And there's another spin off of turn 1, it looks like. Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter's had a problem in the high-tech car. He's now way behind his teammate Booster when he was previously ahead of him. That could make him vulnerable to BRL Phantom in the next couple of laps here. We'll have to see how much he recovers his pace. Now back up to the action at the front. Unsighted Port currently being hounded by TRL Stig in the ART Grand Prix car. Both of these guys towards the front, being competitive. They don't want to knock each other off the track. That is the fine balance that they have to tread. And in the meantime, Cheese is gaining ever more momentum. It looks like he could have a shot at Stig here in the next couple of laps, like he did at Meanford, if he can just keep the pace up, keep up the aggression, don't get too daunted by tire wear. Those are the keys in the later stages of an F2 feature race. In the meantime, Senna very much hanging on to the back of Meanford, trying to humiliate the MP Motorsport driver even more by ejecting him from the top 5. So let's ride on board with the HWA Race Lab driver, the only HWA Race Lab driver present today. Ooh, Fern goes wide, he locks up, goes wide, and that's going to make things a hell of a lot easier for Senna. It looks like he's not even going to need DRS. Fern just ruined his run there, as Feta says the fastest lap of the race now. This looks like a foregone conclusion between Senna and Meanford, so we're going to take a look at Feta, who just hit the fastest lap of the race so far. And Boostier, penalty for Boostier. 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Not a good development for him. His teammate Deer Hunter has also come in, so it looks like it's going to be a double stack for the high-techs. I don't think that's going to work out. They're going to have to queue up. Stig pits for the hard compound tires. Let's see how this high-tech double stack actually works out. Oh yeah, Deer's going to have to queue here. Ooh, this is tight. Oh, he's going to lose a ton of time here. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching live Deer Hunter's chances of getting points being actively undermined by his own teammate Boostier. Perhaps it was just some unfortunate timing or a bit of hubris, maybe thinking he had enough of a gap to not get held up. But no. Boostier's going to come out the better in that, and Deer Hunter's going to lose an absolute ton of time. He's going to lose out to literally everyone in the field except for Ed Taronia, who also happened to pit, but you got to think that's ruined Deer's feature race. And I don't see a whole lot of activity in the chat right now. So make sure to share your thoughts about the race so far, share your predictions for winners, share your predictions for reverse grid poll, all that good stuff in the Twitch chat if you have access to it right now. It's always nice to see your guys' thoughts. There are plenty of them in the realistic tier race, which is a little controversial for a number of reasons, including a certain altercation between Taylor and Joe that we won't get into here. But look at this. Ham Newton is getting caught up to by unsighted Port. Oh, we could have had a battle for the lead there, but they're both going to pit to avoid getting undercut too much by the cars behind, like Stig and Boostier especially. So Meanford is going to inherit the lead, and Fetta's going to... Oh, Fetta's pitting as well, actually. He's not staying out. Fetta's into the pits along with unsighted Port and Ham Newton. Let's see how all these guys fare. Ham Newton... Ooh, that was a bit of a hold-up. What happened there? No, Newton didn't lose out to unsighted Port. He doesn't have to worry about that. He is pretty close behind him, though, and Feta is pretty close behind both of them, so it'll be interesting to see how that battle plays out. It is the battle for the net race lead, too. I don't think it's a very smart choice for Meanford to be staying out on these tires as long as he has, simply because, well, it's simply because he's getting undercut. It's not a good choice to stay out on old mediums when you could have hards that are really fresh and nice and grippy. And he goes wide at turn 10 there just to demonstrate my point. Huge lockup for him. Just couldn't quite get that car slowed down. Of course, Phantom is still going at the moment because he has that hard tire advantage already. He's already on the hards. He's already getting his longer stint out of the way now. So he'll be pitting a bit later. Skull the Bull, too. Skull the Bull, after his early spin, he does seem to be losing out even more now because of that staying out on medium strategy, which will probably not be too viable unless there's a safety car right about, now. But anyway, let's go back to the battle for the net race lead. It looks like Ham Newton has had an excellent outlap and pulled a bit of a gap on unsighted Port. He's out of his DRS anyway, and Port's just staying ahead of that 1 second range on TRL Stig, and Stig's doing the same for his teammate Feta at the moment, but for how much longer? Senna, in the meantime, seems to have lost out slightly in the pit stop because of... I'm actually not sure why that was. Maybe he got undercut by a lap, but he's down to 8th now, and he's not nearly as close to the lead as he was before pit stops when he really was flying. He had some really good laps on those mediums, and there's a yellow flag in the middle sector. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but Ed Taronia and Deer Hunter going out at the moment. Nienfern pits. Phantom inherits the lead. And, ooh, Prema and High-Tech battling right at the back for supremacy. That's what they say about Formula 2. It has excellent competition and racing all the way up and down the field. And these guys are fighting over last, literally, right now. And they're going hammer and tongue, but it looks like Deer Hunter's going to win out for the moment. And in the meantime, we're going to take a look at BRL Phantom, see how he's faring. Let's ride on board with him, see how those 7-lap-old hard tires are faring. Yeah, they're doing all right. He's not having to abuse the track limits to stay up on pace, which is always important. But I don't suspect Phantom will be in the conversation for the win. Oh, Deer Hunter's out. What's happened there? Deer Hunter, and the virtual safety car is out, and that could be a boon for Phantom if it lasts long enough. And the race has been neutralized. I'm not sure if that was in a scuffle with Ed Taronia, because I know they were battling very closely. But Deer Hunter's now out of the race. I think his car is going to despawn before we see if it has a wheel hanging off or not. Sure enough, it does. But, that's a bit of a twist. VSC slowing the race down. Unfortunately, not a full safety car, because that would bunch up the pack and make everything much more exciting. But we're still getting some shake-up in the form of a drive-through penalty as well for Skull the Bull, whose troubles continue. First an early spin, then getting undercut in the pits, and now he has been convicted by the game of speeding on a virtual safety car, and he's going to have to give up even more time. And this time it'll be to Ed Taronia, who suddenly might just be able to snag a point or two from this race, despite his difficulties, if he can catch up to Darth Q-Man. Although that will be a tall order. In the meantime, back to the leaders. And it looks like Stig and Feta... Oh, look at this, the two ART teammates. They could come to blows here. Feta just had a purple Sector 3. What can he do? Alright, what can he do about this? Ham Newton having a little look at unsighted Port. Well, I should actually mention, it looks like Port has taken the net race lead at some point, while we were focusing on Phantom. So it's Port now, in terms of the net race lead. Phantom still has to fit. So Port, then Ham Newton, and now Feta, who's just taken third place away total from TRL Stig. And it looks like Senna isn't actually clawing back ground from that pit stop trouble. It looks like Senna's actually losing a lot of time to these front five guys, as Feta sets a purple Sector 1. Yeah, Feta Cheese is just flying right now. He's in definite contention for a podium, especially if Ham Newton and unsighted Port keep squabbling. Look at that. Ham Newton just completely lost his momentum there because of a failed move on the UNI Virtuosi car. Now that's going to open up the door maybe for Feta to make a move on the back straight. May very well be. Skeppy says the chat is dead. Yes. Thank you, Captain Obvious. And unfortunately, no one seems to be in a talkative mood here, unlike in the realistic race where we had almost constant chat activity, except for a bit of a lull during Q3. Feta really testing the limits of that car. And he's getting very close to Ham Newton now. Ham seems to be caught off guard a little bit at the moment. He's a little vulnerable. Maybe he's not managing his tires as well as the guys around him. He's pushing a little bit too hard. Maybe on the outlap he did. Oh, what a move on the final corner. Out of nowhere, Feta Cheese just completely pulled the pants down on Ham Newton there. And they're going to be side by side down the pit straight, but that was an extremely impressive move from Feta. Just a nice little slip up the inside at the last moment. I've done moves like that before, but I can tell you they are very difficult to make. Ham's going to try and take third place back, but he can't quite do it. Now that's going to open the door for TRL Stig to get involved. Could be a double podium in the cards here for ART Grand Prix, but Stig gets a 3-second time penalty now for multiple track limits warnings. Doesn't look like Stig will have the momentum this time into turn 4. Nope, he backs out of it. Phantom, meanwhile, still hasn't pitted, but I suspect he will at the end of this lap or next lap. Probably this lap, to be honest. It's high time for him to do it. In the meantime, we have this very riveting battle for a net second place to watch. Ooh, Ham locking up into turn 8. That gives him extra impetus for Stig. I'm sure they really push it hard. And oh, into the wall goes Feta Cheese. He just spinned it. What happened there? That was so sudden. Virtual safety car now. That's going to be huge for Phantom, actually. If he can get to the pit lane in time. I wonder if his wheel disconnected or something? I'm at a loss. I don't know what happened there. Feta was doing really well. He wasn't under any particular pressure from Ham at that point in time. Wow, plot twist. A contender for the win has just crashed himself out of this feature race and has lost himself any opportunity to get decent track position for the sprint. Just goes to show how one tiny mistake can ruin your entire race weekend. Really unfortunate for Feta. Phantom not actually pitting, which is surprising. The VSC ends. Meanfern gets a drive-through penalty now for speeding on a virtual safety car. That's the second victim of the virtual safety car speeding ticket today. First one was Scoldable, as I mentioned, who still has to serve his drive-through penalty. Now Meanfern, jeez. The virtual stewards being very rough today with their decisions. Yeah, serving that drive-through will probably dump Meanfern all the way down to 9th or 10th, I'd think. So suddenly, he thought he was getting a decent points haul and a good reverse grid spot, but now he's going to be fighting just to stay in the points, possibly. What a plot twist. And I gotta say, not a very good move for Phantom to not pit at the end of that lap there, because he still would have saved a tiny bit of time from the VSC, even though it ended not long after he passed the entry. But now his tires are just too old. He has to pit this lap, otherwise he's really throwing away a lot of his advantage. I would think, anyway. Anyway, we'll find out his strategy. As of right now, I suspect he would rejoin around 8th or 9th place area. So Phantom will be a contender, and a strong one at that, for reverse grid pole here in the sprint race. Could be setting himself up for a surprise sprint win. Just have to see how it pans out once he pits. But the loss of Feta Cheese has made the battle at the front much more simple. It's now just unsighted Port slowly streaking ahead, with Stig and Ham Newton battling over P2, and Senna off in the distance somewhere. Senna's actually under pressure from Meanfern right now, but of course Fern has to serve that penalty. And, ooh, Skull the Bull. Skull the Bull's, he's just not having a good race, is he? Into the wall at the exit of turn 4. Not very hard. He's not lost any of his front wing, but still. Even more things to add to his woes right after he served his drive-through. And Phantom pits. Phantom has pitted. He's onto the medium compound tire. Of course, that's his only option. And he's out. Where is he going to rejoin? That is the million-dollar question. And it looks like it's going to just get passed by Eris Boostier, who currently holds 8th place and reverse grid pole. And now he's going to be up to 7th. And Phantom holds reverse grid pole now from Darth Q-Man. Great work by the dance crew to get him out in time to keep that 8th position. And he could be hungry for more here. He's got 5 laps to reel in ARS Boostier and possibly Sergeant Milk as well in that Campos, who's been having a pretty quiet race, to be honest. As Senna and Meanfern really going at it now. But again, this battle is meaningless because Meanfern still has that drive-through to serve. Oh yeah, XenoKid in Discord is actually enlightening me now. I forgot that it's not actually legal to pit under a virtual safety car in Formula 2. So that is my bad. That is why Phantom didn't do it. Now then, Meanfern up into 4th place right now, but again, he's got that drive-through to serve. And I suspect that'll plunk him somewhere around the Boostier Phantom area. So actually, I'm wrong. He's not going to be fighting just to get points. He will be fighting for a reverse grid pole. But I gotta say, he probably would have preferred a 4th place finish to that. And now I'm guessing he's going to come into the pits now. Yes, he is. And we'll keep him company. How about that? We'll keep him company as he serves that drive-through penalty that he's been given by the in-game stewards. Driving through now. It looks like, yep, Sergeant Milk just coming through the pit lane now, or by the pit lane, rather. And he's going to get past. Boostier's going to get past. Looks like Phantom will get past, too. Going to be close. Nope, Phantom goes by. Phantom actually has a pretty decent margin and fresher tires. Oh, a Q-Man goes by. Q-Man takes reverse grid pole. That is... Okay, the drive-through penalty for Meanfern might have just completely changed Q-Man's fortunes, not only for this race, but for the entire weekend. Because again, he's just been promoted to 8th place, which is reverse grid pole. In other news, Phantom seems to have gained about a little over a second on ARS Boostier during that last lap, and he is gaining even more quite rapidly on those fresher tires. Cobra One Racing is in the chat. Finally, we got some chat activity this stream, saying go Senna. Yeah, Senna's certainly in a pretty good position right now, running in P4. Let's check penalties real quick. Ooh, Sergeant Milk 4. I didn't realize how many penalties he had. He's actually only in a net P7 right now because he has 11 seconds worth of penalties. Phantom only has 6. Boostier has 5. Oof, that's a solid feels bad man for me. Stig only has 3 seconds. Taranya has 8 seconds. And Scoldable has 5 seconds from his pit lane speeding, if I remember correctly. So that is the lowdown on penalties for the moment. Let's go back to the battle for P2 between ERS Ham Newton and TRL Stig, which is still ongoing. Ham Newton right on the back of that ART Grand Prix car right now. He's going to get DRS. He could try and make a move into 4, maybe. Goes defensive. Ham Newton down the inside. Look at that. There's contact. Phantom just the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly. Ooh, that was a bit of a dirty move. He made contact to get past. Not sure if the stewards will interpret that as an illegal overtake or not. By the way, a very brave and ballsy move from Ham Newton. I think we can all agree on that, and that has gifted him at second place in this race. Of course, it's unlikely that Stig would have gotten second place anyway because of his 3-second time penalty, but still, well, beating someone on track is what counts. It's what you get bragging rights for. And Newton knows that, and he's just taken that position with some very much needed authority. Feta saying in Discord that it could have been an ART double podium, and he apologizes to his teammate Stig. Too bad what happened to Feta. He had the pace to win, and Phantom's out! Phantom just crashed on the exit of turn 8. Look at that. Turn 8 claims another victim. This time they said victim was up for a top 5 in the race, possibly. Secure Circuit claims another victim. My gosh. Not a full VSC this time. We're just letting him race for these last 2 laps of the race. On side of port, looks like he's in clear air right now, plain sailing until the end, unless he makes a major mistake, which could bring Stig or Newton into the fray. Speaking of them, Stig got past. Stig has gotten back past that MP Motorsport car. Now that was quite a drive. Quite an impressive move from Stig, and now Ham Newton is way too far back. Oh, big late braking, and he's around. Ham Newton is around. He might have just thrown away his chances at a podium with that. Where's Senna? Where's Senna? He's going through turn 4 now. That is not good at all. Ham Newton getting way too aggressive on the brakes into turn 4, as he seems to be want to do throughout this race. Oh my gosh, Ham, what have you done? Senna could very much snag the podium now in these closing 2 laps. Really all depends on the condition of Ham's tires after that slide. Oh. It's quite unfortunate, but you gotta say, he brought it on himself with that super aggressive braking. So it looks like Ham Newton will mostly coast to the finish unless Senna has something to say about it. And same with everyone here. It doesn't look like we will have any major battles remaining, except, hold on, for the battle for P7. It's currently taking place between Darth Q-Man and Meanfern. So Meanfern got up to Q-Man, and he's taking advantage of Phantom's DNF, and now he's back in the reverse grid shuffle. And it's very much a serious battle between the Carlin and the MP Motorsport car here. Although both of them will win at the end of the day. One of them will get 2 extra points over the other one will get reverse grid pole, as TRL Stig sets the fastest lap of the race. He's really answered that threat from Ham Newton in that spin by just showing off, really, and getting that fastest lap. Keep in mind, in Formula 2, the fastest lap is worth 2 extra bonus points, not just 1 like an F1. So that is very much important. And remember, at the end of this race, things are not over. We will have a sprint race after this race, because an F2 race weekend consists of 2 separate races. So do not go anywhere once the feature race is over, because it'll only be a minute or 2 before we transition. And Q-Man pits. My. I'm not sure what's caused this. And it looks like Port's disconnected as well, so I'll get him back in here. But he should still coast to the finish pretty easily. He's got a decent lead. And Q-Man goes in for a surprise tire change. I'm not entirely sure why. Hitting on the last lap. I believe it may have been... it may have been because he... when was his first pit stop? Lap 3? I believe it was before the end of lap 4. Yes, so... Technically, he hasn't made his mandatory pit stop, and that's kind of sunk him. What do you know? That's going to give Ed Tarogna a reverse grid pole. Ed's been out of this race for pretty much since the start. He had troubles at the beginning and never really recovered, but now he's going to inherit reverse grid pole thanks to others' misfortune. What a twist. And, yep, unsighted port is going to coast to victory. Sergeant Milk's going to get a 3-second time penalty right at the end. It's pretty unfortunate. That might lose him 6th place to Meanfern. We'll have to see. Tiro sticks second. Ham Newton rounds out the podium still, despite his spin. And Mex Senna in a respectable P4. Boostier is going to come home in P5, it looks like. Yeah, penalties are going to favor him. Well done to Boostier. And then behind him, Sergeant Milk's going to come across the line, but he's going to, because of his huge amount of penalties, he's going to lose 6th place to Meanfern. Takes it right away from him. And then Ed Tarogna is a fair way behind, but he is going to get reverse grid pole after all of his woes during this race. What a reward for not giving up and retiring in the pit lane like some people did in the realistic race. And boom, across the line in P8. Behind him, Darth Q-Man, who unfortunately pitted just a little bit too early. And then Skull the Bull in P10, despite all of his bad luck this race. With all the spins and a drive-through penalty under VSC and a spin at the start, he's still going to come home with 1 championship point after the feature race. Well done to him. Anyway, it looks like Unsighted Port still hasn't been able to actually get back into the lobby, despite the fact that he won. So we're going to give him another one. Mex Senna gets driver of the day. I would have to agree with that for the feature race because, let's be honest here, he did a great performance. He started almost at last and ended up in 4th place, almost a podium. So big respect for him. So that's the end of the feature race, but we won't be doing podium interviews, unfortunately, because we simply don't have time. The sprint race will start very, very soon. Instead, after the sprint race, we'll be doing post-race interviews based on the top 3 drivers who scored the most points in total from this race. Although I suspect Unsighted Port will be one of those 3 because the feature race win is the most points you can get in 25. That's the timer for the sprint race. It'll be starting in just over 10 seconds. All right, we are on the grid now for the sprint race. Or Bahrain, don't go anywhere. We've still got more racing action to finish off this Thursday evening here on the very first day of BRL's new season, and that is Season 6. We'll have another formation lap here, and then get underway once again. It looks like Unsighted Port has finally rejoined the lobby, thank goodness. Get all the doodads back up. And here we are, ready for the sprint race. Now all the drivers will have to individually prepare themselves for the race. Ed Taranya on reverse grid pole after a very quiet, to say the least, feature race. Sergeant Milk will join him alongside on the front row, followed by Mean Fern, Boostier, Senna, Ham Newton, TRL Stig, and Unsighted Port. Those are the top 8. Port starting 8th because he won the feature race just a few moments ago. And then Darth Q-Man, Scoldable, BRL Phantom, Feta Cheese, Deer Hunter, and Jeremy 14MC in the second Dams car, who's been able to join us for the second sprint race. So Dams will have both drivers in today after all. Alright, the grid is forming up now, led again by the Prema of Ed Taranya. Fittingly enough, in champion Mick Schumacher's car. And the grid is formed up, and we are ready to go racing for the second time in BRL Formula 2. Let's get a better angle here. Alright. 3, 4, up to 5 red lights, and we're already up and running. Good start for Ed Taranya, but also for Sergeant Milk. Ooh, watch for Mean Fern peeking around the outside there, right on the right side, that orange and black MP Motorsport car. And Sergeant Milk's going to take the lead into turn number 1. A really bad start for Ed Taranya, actually. Not looking good at all for him at the moment. Really getting shuffled back all the way, almost outside of the points already. And Mean Fern takes the lead off of Sergeant Milk, followed by the MP Motorsport car of Ham Newton and the Dutch team already on the offensive in this opening lap. And it looks like that's going to continue into turn 4. Ooh, tight stuff with Milk and Ham Newton. Riding aboard with the Campos car, and it looks like he's going to lose out. Now he's going to come under pressure from ARS Boostier in the high-tech, followed by Mexana, Taranya, Stig, and Unsighted Port. And there's a whole lot of scuffling further back. Look at this. Ooh, contact between the ART and high-tech there of Stig and Deer Hunter's AI. That's not actual Deer Hunter. Ooh, Stig going down the inside of Taranya, and oh! Problems for Sergeant Milk, problems for Milk. Looked like a puncture from a distance, but no, he just ran. Looks like he spun off the track at the entry to turn 10 or something like that. And Phantom's out. Phantom is already retired from the session. Double retirement. So actually, I'm getting confirmation that Deer Hunter did not leave the lobby for another casual lobby. He's still here, so never mind. And in the meantime, let's take a look at the battles going on up and down the board right now. Everyone within a second of each other still after the first lap, although that's largely down to the virtual safety car that's been put down by Phantom-stricken Dan. We'll just ignore that for now. And oh, Meanfern, for the second race in a row, hit with a drive-through penalty for speeding on a virtual safety car. Real naughty boy Fern's being today. He got one in the feature race, and now he's got one in the sprint while leading. And that's going to give it all away to his teammate Ham Newton, who's actually letting by right now. That's going to give P2 to ARS Booster and P3 to MEX Senna, who might yet get a podium. Very close stuff right now. Meanfern's probably doing a little blocking act, trying to get his teammates some room by holding off Boostier and Senna until he serves his drive-through. As they all go, and as they all funnel down the back straight now. Like Darth Q-Man and Deer Hunter currently fighting over the final points paying position, very close together indeed. Yellow flag in the middle sector for no particular reason. The game just threw it out there for fun, I suppose. And Senna now hounding the back of ARS Booster, purple middle sector for the HWA Race Lab car. Another yellow flag in the middle sector for no reason whatsoever, and another one. Looks like the game's glitching out a bit in that part of the track. Ooh, Senna side by side with the high-tech. Booster has to back out of it. Round the outside goes MEX Senna. And he is going to be into P3 now. And net second place once Meanfern serves his drive-through penalty. DRS has enabled Meanfern's at the fastest lap. Ham Newton immediately beats that fastest lap. And now Booster is coming back at Senna. Down the inside into turn 1. Oh, he slides into him ever so slightly. Going to be side by side coming out of it. And Booster is going to have to back off in the end. Staunch but fair defending from Senna. Behind them, Sergeant Milk seems to be falling behind a little bit, as he's currently under pressure from TRL Stick in the ART, and I suspect Ed Taronia and the Prema will be getting involved as well. Jeremy 14 MC in the Dams, all the way back at 11th place. He joined the race late, missed the feature actually, and qualifying. And now he's making a statement with the fastest lap of the race on those hard tires, further back at 11th place, while his teammates out, unfortunately. Well, Booster could still potentially mount a counterattack at Senna here if he pulls together enough pace and grip. Whether he does, only time will tell. Meanwhile, further back, plenty of scuffling. Ooh, between Q-Man, Feta, and that looks like unsighted Port. Yeah, unsighted Port. Look at this. He's fallen all the way back from 8th at the start to 12th now. Really not looking good for pace on this particular sprint race format so far. The game's still putting out glitchy yellow flags for no reason whatsoever. Jeremy 14 MC still in 11th, Darth Q-Man in 10th, Feta in 9th, and Deer Hunter just holding on to the final points paying position for the moment. It's looking very good right now. It's all coming together for ERS Ham Newton. Well, Meanfern's at the fastest lap of the race. Ham Newton has a teammate behind him right now who's going to block for him for another lap or so, and then go in to serve a drive-through penalty and get out of his life for the entire rest of the race. His only threat right now seems to be MEX Senna, but even he is a little far back right now at about 2 seconds. Over 2 seconds, actually. And in the meantime, let's go further back and watch some exciting action between Ed Taronia, who's currently attacking Sergeant Milk, and he's gotten past. The Prema passes the camp also. No, he's going for the Stig. TRL Stig, but no, he locks up and goes very wide. His eyes were bigger than his stomach there, I suppose. Now he's at risk of falling out of the points to Deer Hunter, and he has done so. Not quite. Oh, there's contact. Front wings are flying. And Deer Hunter is around. That was a messy affair indeed. And that's going to be a real yellow flag in Sector 2. As Deer Hunter has just been, honestly, kind of screwed over by that. You never want to be going side by side through turns 5, 6, and 7. That's extremely messy business. Unsighted Port still struggling for pace at the moment, getting passed by his teammate now, Still the Bull. In the meantime, Jeremy slowly working his way up the field. Ed Taronia trying to recover now after what was potentially a shot at 6th place. And this is all very good for Mean Fern as well, because the more these guys in the nether regions of the points fight, the more within reach they'll be after Mean Fern serves his drive-through penalty. Another ghost flag in the middle sector. Now let's see, will Fern serve his drive-through this lap? Yes, he is. He's coming in now. So let's follow him through and see where he will rejoin. There goes Stig and Milk, there goes Q-Man, there goes Jeremy and Ed and Skull and Unsighted. Everyone except Deer Hunter is going to go by him. This drive-through has absolutely ruined Mean Fern's sprint race. He had quite a bit of potential for it, starting P2 and all, but that is now pretty much all gone. Deer Hunter's coming into the pits as well. I don't know if it's to change tires or retire. We'll have to find out pretty soon. In the meantime, let's go back to these really riveting battles that are going on. That front wing we saw flying last lap was actually property of Jeremy MC, whose outside shot at points has suddenly been ruined now that he's got these pretty significant front wing damage. But Ed Taranya still hounding the two UNI Virtuosi cars who just got past him. Outside of Port and Skull the Bull. Oh, indeed, Skull the Bull goes very wide indeed. That's going to allow his teammate pass, possibly Ed as well. Let's find out. Skull the Bull still struggling for pace, still making quite a few mistakes, but hey, he's trying, and he came away with a point for his troubles last race. Trying to see if he can do the same today. Ooh, Taranya up the inside. Look at that move on Unsighted Port. My gosh. They're still side by side through turn 12. This is some super nail-biting stuff. And then Unsighted Port has to yield because of that front wing damage that I actually didn't see before. It looks like he does have some wing damage, but Taranya doesn't get a very good run off to the final corner, or penultimate corner rather. And Mexena set the fastest lap of the race. Now he's really going after Ham Newton. He knows that win is within reach. But these two are still just going at it for 9th place, and the more they go at it, the more Skull the Bull can potentially get away and steal another cheap point. Meanwhile, further up front, TRL Stig is doing battle with Sergeant Milk, and even more so, Boostier is doing quite a lot of battle with Feta Cheese. Feta trying to make up for that serious mistake that he made during the feature race that cost him a potential win, as Jeremy now pits to remedy his front wing damage. Although we can't expect much out of pit stop, maybe the fastest lap. But keep in mind, you have to be in the top 10 to cash in on the fastest lap in the race, so he won't even get the 2 bonus points for that, unfortunately. So it's looking like Dams will remain scoreless in the Constructors' Championship after this first round. Ooh, big slide for Boostier. Ooh, that was very precarious indeed. This battle for the final podium position. But it seems to have the upper hand at the moment with track position and stability. Boostier maybe just pushing a little bit too hard right now. Yeah, he's going to be falling behind that ART car. He might fall out of DRS before the pit straight, depending on how good of a run he gets off the penultimate corner. Let's find out. Looks like a decent run, but he's outside of that 1 second range. He's not going to get DRS. And that might have just decided the battle for the final podium position, at least for the next lap or two. This dude's going to need a decent pace increase if he wants to keep up with that very hot ART. And in the meantime, Mexena has dramatically decreased the lead that Ham Newton has over him as Feta sets the fastest lap of the race. Mex has just been quietly putting in the laps, and now he is almost on the tail of Ham Newton. He's in DRS range now. He's going to have it on the next straightaway. And it's looking like he very well could contest for the win here. Ham Newton, he might not have the race in his bag quite as much as he had hoped for. It's not quite a battle yet, but it's really getting close to that. Senna just really seems to have more pace at this stage in the race. And oh, Feta! What happened to Feta? He's down from 3rd to 6th now, fighting with Q-Man. It looks like... Does he have wing damage? He doesn't. Oh, and he spins! Feta had a spin off of turn 1, and now he's had another one off of turn 4, and again! Twice in a row, the podium slips through his fingers. What a painful sight for Feta. Jeez, he's got to fall behind Mean Fern even. Oh my gosh. It's, that's pretty brutal. I gotta say, that's pretty unfortunate. But it puts Skull the Bull back into the points. And it gives Ed Taronja once again an outside shot at points, as they're all very close together right now for 7th, 8th, and 9th. In the meantime, Senna is now within half a second of Ham Newton. He's gained a hell of a lot on this lap, about, I want to say, 0.8 of a second, and now he's going to be able to potentially pass into turn 1 on this lap. Let's find out if he tries. 5 laps to go here, so he still has some time, but he'll want to press that advantage if he can. Being ahead is always better than having to chase someone down and overtake them. Ham goes defensive. Down the outside goes Senna, and he's just so brave on the brakes that he clears it before the apex. Look at that. Beautiful. How to overtake an F2 at Bahrain by Max Senna. Look at that. But Ham's coming back. Ham's coming back. He's going to do a dive bomb into turn 4 again. It's not really a dive bomb this time. That's actually very reasonable braking. It looks like it could be enough to retake the lead. Yes, Senna goes wide. Senna pulls a Lance Stroll, goes wide while trying to leave room. And it looks like he's not going to be able to maintain that lead for more than a sector. That's very close stuff here. Yellow flags in Sector 1 for no particular reason. Bit of a lock-up for Ham Newton into turn number 10. That's going to give Senna ever so slightly more impetus. Try and get the sprint race when he can smell it. He knows he's going to get it, and Feta is out. Feta Cheese has just retired from this race, and that's a virtual safety car. And that changes things. Pretty unfortunate double DNF for Senna today. Or not, sorry, not Senna, Feta. He's had some really good pace. I'm surprised he's made these mistakes that just sunk him. Oh my gosh. Someone in Discord is saying Feta shouldn't be a Nico Hulkenberg, and I agree. He's allergic to the podium apparently. I'm not sure what it is. DSC ends. We're back to racing speed, and it looks like neither Senna nor Ham really got an advantage during that BSC period. Sometimes you can really lean on that delta and gain a few tenths over your foes under VSC, but it doesn't seem like that's happened here. Still very close together. Senna going a little deep into turn 1. Right now, Ham actually appears to have the upper hand now, but that could change at any point. All it takes is one little mistake to lose momentum and lose the lead, possibly. And Skull the Bull gets a 3-second time penalty. That's got to hurt for multiple track limits warnings. Although both of the guys around him already have time penalties of similar nature, so it shouldn't affect his actual race too much for the time being. Although if Meanfern gets close enough to those 3 guys with penalties before the end of the race, he could actually get back in the points somehow. He needs to get by at least 2 of them. To get up to 8th, because of course P8 is the final point-paying position in the sprint race. And in the meantime, Max Senna is still giving Ham Newton a run for his money for the lead, but he's not quite close enough to try a move, and I don't think he will be on the pit straight. Unless he gets a real good run out of the penultimate corner. Oh, this changes things. Newton gets a 3-second time penalty. And now Senna has basically been gifted the net lead of the race. Look at that. That is huge. Now Senna can just stay back and stay at his DRS and at his leisure. Overtake him if he wants. But just stay off the track limit, Senna, and boom, you've got yourself a sprint race win. So, mic static. But it would appear that Senna has just been gifted the win of the race indeed. Now, in the meantime, the battle for 7th is still there. It's still very much heated up. Ooh, Ed Taronja goes down the inside of Skull the Bull for the final points paying position, and he's done it. That was a super clean move into turn number 1. And that was a masterclass, and it looks like Meanfern is actually really catching up to these guys. He does have a real prospect of still snagging a point or 2 here. It's entirely possible. It all depends on how much pace he can summon in these last 3 laps. sectors of yellow flags for no particular reason. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, the game does seem to be glitching out a bit when it comes to these yellow flags so far in the sprint race. It's a little worrying. But Senna's actually caught up quite a bit to Ham Newton this lap. The gap is closing. The question is it closing enough to get that overtake for the lead on track? It might be. Let's find out now on the pit straight. Heading on board with the BWT Race Lab driver. No, I think he's going to be too far back still. It does look like the kind of gap that you can close down with DRS alone. So we're going to go to a different battle for now. TRL Stick versus Sergeant Milk. We haven't gone over this one yet. Oh, for 4th and 5th place at the moment. Looks like Stick could get the upper hand here. Oh yeah, this is the kind of gap you can close out with DRS alone. Milk doesn't go defensive, he just keeps the outside line. Can he stick it? I wonder. Ooh, he's trying. He's going to. Oh, Stick just didn't carry enough apex speed there. And he's made that mistake, and Milk has just retaken that position. Very nice stuff from the Campos driver. And that's going to give him a stay of execution, I suppose. Although at this point he might not actually lose the position. It might not be inevitable because the laps are winding down here. We've only got 2 left. And there's another meaningless yellow flag in sector number 2. I know we got a Virtuosi going slowly. We got a Virtuosi going a bit slowly. That looks like Skull the Bull, and has he gotten wing damage? No! In that case, I wonder why he's going so slowly. Enough to bring out a yellow flag. Interesting, although Skull isn't really in contention for points at the moment. So that might explain it somewhat. Meanwhile, Senna's still just hanging out in that 3 seconds of Ham Newton. That's all he has to do at this point. And he has got this race won in the bag. Final lap now. Ham Newton looks set to win on track, but Senna is going to win as far as the stewards and race control is concerned. Now let's go back to the Stig Milk battle. Can Stig get one last shot at the Campos car? This might be his last opportunity. It's certainly his last best opportunity to get this position from Milk's hands. Is he going to dive bomb it? No, he's not. Even though it's the final lap, he's going to try it again next straightaway. He just can't seem to carry enough momentum through turn 1, and that's not going to help him on this next straight. And he's not going to get an opportunity there. He's going to have to rely on a mistake from Sergeant Milk, I think, if he wants that 4th position. Still sticking very close to him, just not close enough for an actual move. Oh, down the inside suddenly from Stig. But again, he can't carry speed through the apex. Again, aggressive on the braking, but no apex speed, and that's what's allowed Milk to go back past on both of his overtaking attempts. Great conservative defensive driving from Sergeant Milk to keep this 4th position, I gotta say. As they head into the closing part of the middle sector. And now we go up to the front of the field. And you're looking at our top 2 at the moment. ERS Ham Newton driving for MP Motorsport is going to come across the line, at least on track, to win the sprint race. But in reality, Senna is going to get all the points and all the honors for the victory. 15 points to his name. Ham Newton is going to come home in 2nd. ARS Boostier looks to be taking the final points-paying position in 3rd. Or, sorry, the final podium position in 3rd. And then Sergeant Milk, followed by Darth Q-Man, Unsighted Port, Mean Fern, Ed Taranya, and what happened to TRL Stig? Looks like Stig had a spin or something, because he fell down from 5th to 8th there. I'm not sure how, but Q-Man, Mean Fern, Unsighted Port, and Stig with the final points-paying position. Ed Taranya, Skull the Bull, Deer Hunter, and Jeremy all locked out of the points, as well as our retirements, of course, Phantom and Feta Cheese. So we're going to see, unlike in the realistic race, we're going to try and see if we can actually do podium interviews this time. Because unfortunately with the realistic tier race we had a little bit of a problem with Xbox parties, so let's just hope that's rectified this time. Nidal Comet confirming to me Stigan Sargent made contact in the last corner, so that would be the reason why Stig dropped 3 positions in the course of 1 sector. And that's your finish. As Jeremy spins into the wall right at the end for no particular reason. But he's going to come across the line in P12 and quite a ways behind the leaders. And I do mean quite a ways. Oh, actually, that's weird. His coming across the line has not ended the race. So it looks like we're going to have to sit here for another minute or so. We'll wait for him to cycle through. And then we will be able to move on to, hopefully, podium interviews, or we'll just end the stream if that doesn't actually work out. Ed Tarania leaving the session after a decent outing. 8th place in the feature. Unfortunately, he couldn't translate reverse grid pole to a sprint race winner podium. He comes home in 9th, just outside the points for the sprint. And again, we won't just be inviting 6 people in here, the podium finishers from the feature and sprint races. I'll be inviting in here for interviews the three drivers who had the most combined points from the feature and sprint races. So I'm not positive, but I believe at this point that that's going to be Ham, Newton, Senna, and unsighted Port. Anyway, the results sheet will tell us in just a moment. Now that the timer has finally run down. There is your podium for the sprint race again. Max Senna, ERS Ham Newton, and ARS Booster for BWT Race Lab, MP Motorsport, and High Tech Grand Prix, respectively. And then the results from the weekend. 3 drivers scoring exactly 27 points. Unsighted Port, Ham Newton, and MEX Senna, as I said. I'm going to try and invite him to parties now. And it looks like the party system on my Xbox is still not working, probably because of the light stream tools that we're debuting today. So unfortunately, there will be no podium interviews. But I would like to say to everybody, this was a pretty long stream, almost 3.5 hours actually. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in for both the Realistic and Formula 2 race weekends. And I hope to see you guys pretty soon. Quick note, the next race is coming up in the calendar. We're going to have, tomorrow we're going to have F1 Tier 1 PC on our BRL YouTube channel as well. And then after that we'll have our Sunday tiers, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Keep an eye out for those on our Twitch channel. Make sure to follow, turn on notifications. And see you guys again next week.